Hey, Cubs fans, plenty of good seats are still available for games throughout the 1998 season, and Wrigley Field's a great place to spend your summer, so mark your calendars now. For tickets, stop by the Wrigley Field box office, any Ticketmaster Ticket Center, or call 312-831-CUBS. I can't wait for opening day at Wrigley with Montreal Expos in town. Hope it's as warm there as it is here.
And after opening day, where standing room only seats remain, there's plenty of seats throughout the entire homestand.
Here's Gary Sheffield, public enemy number one if you're a Cubs fan. He hit a baseball that's still sailing out of this place in the bottom half of the first. And that's low from Tapani, 2-0. I don't know how in the world this guy is able to get the bat back through the hitting zone, the way he wiggles that thing around at the top of his batting stance.
Well, Chip, you can set up anywhere you want to, but you have to drop your hands into the hitting zone when the pitch is on the way, and he's got as quick a hands as there is in the National League and probably all of baseball, and that's why it's very difficult to get the ball inside, and he can take it down the line without hooking it because his hands are so quick.
That's what he did in the first. Whoa, look out. Tapani lost control and drilled it. That's something that happened to Sheffield quite a bit last year. That and the frustration of 120 walks and the big contract and all the expectations. Not what Sheffield wants to see much more of this year either.
Well, that's one of the reasons why he's wearing that big pad on his elbow, because he sees a lot of pitches inside, and Phil Regan is going to the mound to settle down Tapani. He got hit on the hip. And there's going to be a lot of people this year, and I know he walked 120 times last year. I'm going to predict if he stays here, he's going to probably walk more than that this year, Chip, because if you look at their lineup, and I know that Kotsay is rated as a pretty good hitter, you got Johnson up behind him. You're not going to pitch to Sheffield with the game on the line ever. You're going to make sure someone else in that lineup beats you. Now, in the first inning, Tapani didn't have much of a choice, and it was early in the ball game, so he pitched to him and he got burned. But you're going to see a lot of the National League pitchers pitching around Sheffield.
And they still did it quite a bit last year, even when they had Bobby Bonilla and Moises Alou hitting around. So Sheffield, all right, I think it hit him in a safe spot, the wallet. He's at first. And Mark Kotsay, the hitter. He singled and scored himself back in the first. Sheffield hit by a pitch, is a threat to go. And low and away, 1-0.
Well, the Marlins love this young man, Mark Kotsay. They figure that he is a 300 hitter just waiting to happen. And they love his baseball acumen. They think that he really understands how to play the game. He might not be the best center fielder around, but he's going to be a very solid hitter.
Has kind of an open batting stance in the left-hand box. And so many Marlins now, obviously with no major league experience until today, this is a team that's still got a chance to be a force in a couple of years. The 2-0 pitch is low. Reason being, they didn't just give Kevin Brown away. They didn't just give Moises Alou away. They are trying to rebuild this franchise by stocking their farm system once again.
Well, I think you have to credit Dave Dombrowski there, Chip, because, you know, when there's a fire sale, when opposite teams know that you got to trade a lot of salaries, you just don't get the proper value for the guys you traded. But they got some very good young players. There you look at a brand new father, Dave Dombrowski, and his wife Carrie just had a baby girl, 4 weeks old.
I saw Dave in the press room. I said, sleep's overrated, isn't it? And he just kind of chuckled. Yeah, it sure is. Fouled away. Count is full 3-2.
Well, with Sheffield going, you have to figure he's also going 3-2. This would be a good time for Kevin Tapani to make a quick move to first base. You might find Sheffield a little adventuresome, and maybe you can pick him off.
And by the way, just to finish the point on the Marlins and all their dealing, they may not be done yet. John Cangelosi and Jim Eisenreich reportedly on the block as they still are trying to cut well over $1 million in salary. The 3-2 pitch sliced into left center field. It'll drop in front of Johnson. Sheffield makes the turn. No throw to third. They're at the corners. Nobody out. That was a nice piece of hitting.
Well, the hit and run worked to perfection. Kotsay took the ball out away and didn't try to pull it. If you try to pull that ball, you're going to ground to second. But by slapping it into left center, you allow Sheffield to go all the way to third. He's going to run every chance he gets on Lance Johnson. So it's no surprise that Lance gets this ball into second to try to keep the double play in order. And you've got a wonderful double play target in Charles Johnson, who does not run very well and hits a lot of ground balls.
And who grounded weakly on a check swing roller his first time up. It's a one-run game. Let's see if Tapp can pitch himself a miracle here and get out of the inning with no further damage. He got the leadoff man in the second, breezed through the inning. Then he hit Gary Sheffield to start the frame. Kotsay is singled to left. And now they're at the corners with nobody down. And that almost hit Johnson. 1 ball, no strikes. Terry Mulholland continues to warm in the Cubs bullpen.
Johnson, an inviting strikeout target, has a big swing. He's very powerful.
Had a home run cut, fouled it away. Is this guy the best young catcher in the game?
Well, defensively, he's without peer. He can catch it, throw it, block it, and do just about everything he has to do defensively. He's still got a little learning to do offensively, but he hits a lot of home runs for a catcher.
Ball and a strike. Throw to first. I know the American League fans will say, hey, what about Pudge Rodriguez down in Texas, who's got a cannon for an arm?
Also a wonderful catcher with a few more years under his belt, however, than Charles Johnson. But Charles is just outstanding defensively.
Swung on. That's hammered deep toward left. Say adios.
Well, we told you about the power of Charles Johnson. There was not much doubt about that one. And no sooner do the Cubs come crawling back in this one than they find the Marlins putting another 3 spot on the board and taking a 4-run lead.
And that's going to be it for Kevin Tapani today. 9 runs, 7 hits, a couple of long home runs. And Stoney, it looked like he was never able to settle in from the very opening of today's ball game.
Bad control, and that translates into a lot of runs.
This ball was crushed. Almost the same spot that Sheffield hit. And we'll be right back.
It's being hailed as the best written show on television.
You've really got a yen to hunt this girl, haven't you?
She made me feel like a human being. That's not the kind of thing you just forgive.
Joss Whedon's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Then on Dawson's Creek, whether it's by design or purely by accident, a first kiss is never forgotten. Dawson's Creek after Buffy.
Buffy at 10, Dawson at 11, Wednesday on WGN.
Now they can be seen on the shores of Lake Michigan. Whales. The new Omnimax film playing at the Museum of Science and Industry.
9-5 our score. Charles Johnson from Miami, FLA wakes up the home crowd.
Well, Charles hit 19 last year in 124 games, and this is a bomb, not quite as far as Gary Sheffield, but certainly far enough. We told you this is a right-hand hitter's paradise, and Kevin Tapani was just battered around today in 2+ innings. And there's Terry Mulholland, what he did last year between the Chicago Cubs and San Francisco Giants, and for the first 21 starts, Terry Mulholland was a terrific pitcher for the Cubs.
But got no run support. And now he opens up with a pitch low and away to Craig Counsell, who tripled homer run and scored in the 6-run Marlins first. Cubs led this game 3-0 after a half inning. things were looking great. And then Gary Sheffield with one swing of the bat erased a 3-1 lead. Cubs picked up 2 last half of the inning, but the Marlins have gotten 3 back and lead it 9-5. 2 balls and a strike to Craig Counsell. The 2-1 off the end of the bat and foul out of play. Unofficially tapped with 67 pitches, 39 strikes.
2+ innings, 9 runs on 7 hits with a walk, a strikeout, and a hit batsman. And a very disappointing outing for Kevin Tapani, but it's the first of many for Kevin Tapani.
The 2-2. Weak swing towards second. No more. Morandini has it. Close play. Counsell really hustles down the line. That's why he's a fan favorite. He runs every ball out and runs hard.
Well, that's all they ask of you is give you a good effort every time, and Counsell really hustling down the line makes it a bang play at first, and he's out by a half step.
So one finally out for Josh Booty, and he takes high and tight.
There is a patch of your grandfather.
Pretty good likeness, isn't it?
Very much so.
The 1-0 off his fists and foul. Well,
Right now, if Harry's up there with Bill Veeck sharing a beer, probably calling for Kerry Wood to be called up from the minor leagues. Your grandfather never had much patience.
No, I know. Believe me. When the heck are you getting married? When are you going to give me a great grandchild? Ground ball to left side. Blauser gobbles it up, throws him out.
Well, you know, we did have the first production meeting of the year early today, and you were there with the rest of a brand new staff trying to come together. But after that meeting, Arnie Harris and I had a little meeting of our own, just Arnie and I, and we decided we wanted you to keep up a tradition that your grandfather started when Arnie and I came together with him, which means you pay for everything. Every time we go to eat, you pay. And if you can continue that tradition, Arnie and I are going to be very happy.
Well, then Mr. Dowdle and Mr. Zerwick and I are going to have a little bit of a conversation after the game today. Oh, shoot. Well, I know Grandpa's watching, and we're thinking of you, pal. We miss you terribly. Here's Blauser. Double clutch. Makes Hernandez run a bit down the line. We'll see if that helps the Cubs in the 4th inning. But 3 more runs score on 2 hits. A hit batter as well. After 3, it's 9-5 Marlins.
This is my life. I have 5 kids.
Maggie, Katie, Molly, Aaron, and Ryan.
I want to be a lawyer, but there aren't any law schools where I live. So twice a week, after I get the kids off to school, I go to law school in another state. Southwest has lots of flights, so I get back in time to tuck my kids into bed.
Hey, for ingenuity.
My kids take the bus to school. I take the plane.
You are now free to move about the country.
Here is an easy quiz. True or false? Dodge Caravan is America's best-selling minivan. Good. And right now, Grand Caravan comes with how much cash back? Very good. Now page 2. Check off which features come with this Caravan. Correct. Yet it's still America's lowest price minivan at just, oh, very, very good. So please circle which minivan you want now. Excellent. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
The 24-ounce bottle from Pepsi. It's perfect for a lot of little thirsts. Or one great big thirst.
Uh-oh, not again. Hey, Shaq, thanks a lot.
Sorry.
The 24-ounce six-pack, only from Pepsi.
A little help, please? Somebody?
Whether it's by design or by accident, a first kiss is never forgotten. Dawson's Creek.
A special night, Wednesday at 11 on WGN.
9-5 our score. We go to the 4th inning. Terry Mulholland did his job. Got the Cubs out of the woods with a 1-2-3. Bottom of the third, and now Brant Brown is going to pinch hit for him as the Cubs lead off the fourth inning.
For a while, it looked like Brant Brown would be the opening day first baseman, but Mark Grace said, I can go, and I'm going to go, and I want to be here when the bell rings and hopefully here all year long. So Brant comes off the bench and gets his first at bat, and it'll be Amari Telemaco pitching for the Cubs.
Brown hits it a mile high in his shallow right. That'll be easy for Gary Sheffield, and there's one out. So Brant flies out to right in a 9-5 ball game, and Lance Johnson will be the hitter. He popped to short, walked, and was stranded in the Cubs' second.
I'm having a hard time believing that Lance has actually taken the first 2 pitches each time he's had an at bat. That can't go on.
Let's see if he hacks away here. Tried to butt his way on and fouled it away. No balls and a strike for Lance Johnson as he strolls back to the plate. Let's once again pause for station identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN, Chicago.
Back at Pro Player Stadium, I'm Chip Carey along with my partner Steve Stone. Opening day in South Florida.
Your 4-month-old daughter, who is sitting with your lovely wife Susan, has just awakened to see the score, and she's expressing her displeasure with the 9-5 score.
Either that or she's hungry as Johnson sends a drive deep toward right, but he hooked it foul and out of play. Well, she may only be 4.5 months old, but she has broadcaster's lungs, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning. But that's okay.
That's got a hold of that one and just missed, pulling it foul.
He took that one low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, that's the baby and my bride. There's Susan Ann Summerlin here in South Florida. Johnson serves that ball to left. Floyd plays that one pretty well. And there's out number 2. Mark Clark, Felix Heredia tomorrow evening here in South Florida. But still a ways to go in this one. It's a 9-5 ball game. And Mickey Morandini, the batter.
Cliff Floyd has a world of friends in Chicago. His folks are still back there. And I'm sure they're looking in today to find their son in the opening day lineup in left field, and found some new life here in Florida.
High and away. 2 balls, no strikes. That's outside 3-0. Well, Summerlin, I think a lot of Cubs fans are empathizing with what you're saying right now. And a rough afternoon so far. The 3-0 right down central.
A long way to go in this one, and the Cubs have the kind of lineup where 4 runs doesn't make a great deal of difference, and if you can get into that pen, you're going to be in pretty good shape.
Good cut, but foul away.
After Hernandez, they don't have a great deal in their rotation, nor do they have the strongest bullpen around. They got a lot of youngsters, unproven, and that's the Cubs game plan. You know, the pitches starting to pile up for Livan Hernandez, so we're going to see somebody from middle relief today, and that's when the Cubs should put some more runs on the board.
3-2 pitch again is fouled away.
I think it becomes a pretty important outing for Amari Telemaco now that Mulholland has gotten the Cubs a few outs. It comes to Telemaco to try to hold Florida right there at 9, and if he can do that, I think the Cubs can come back in this one, but we'll see if Amari throws the ball a little better than he did during the springtime.
The 3-2 pitch and fouled back. Well, this guy, I would imagine the fans in Chicago are going to love the way this guy plays the game. Mickey Morandini.
Well, he's a solid player, had a career year last year, but he's going to do quite a job, and he's going to be pretty tough on right-hand pitchers.
Again, the 3-2. Swung on, hammered toward the Bermuda Triangle. Kotsay got a great jump. Inning over. 3 up, 3 down for the Cubs in the fourth. We go to the bottom half. Amari Telemaco will try to shut the door in a 9-5 Marlin game.
It's being hailed as the best written show on television.
You've really got to yin defend this girl, haven't you?
She made me feel like a human being. That's not the kind of thing you just forgive.
Joss Whedon's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Then on Dawson's Creek, whether it's by design or purely by accident, a first kiss is never forgotten. Dawson's Creek after Buffy.
Buffy at 10, Dawson at 11. Wednesday on WGN.
Still paying too much for car insurance? Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more. At Geico, we settle claims quickly so you can get your car back, because no one likes to bum a ride to work. Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Frank, I'm thinking about moving to another swamp.
Oh, really?
I'm just not comfortable living in a swamp where assassination attempts are taking place. Every loon with a vendetta, every snake with a sinus headache frightens me.
Snap out of it, Louis. Everybody knows it was you.
Oh, Frank, I had no motive. I love Budweiser, and I love the frogs.
Oh, yeah, you're good buddies. I forgot.
Excuse me, if you would remember last summer, I invited them to that barbecue.
Yeah, well, Louis, you wanted to cook them at that barbecue.
But at least I invited them.
Oh.
You wouldn't have invited them at all.
A participating advertiser for Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN is the new Dodge. From cars to minivans to trucks, it's about change. The new Dodge.
You're watching WGN, celebrating 50 years as Chicago's very own.
Amari Telemaco takes the hill. Cliff Floyd, the leadoff hitter for the Marlins. Here in the fourth inning, it is 9-5 Fish.
Take a look at last year for Amari Telemaco. Wasn't the best year for him, but he's trying to turn things around here today. He didn't have a particularly good spring, but the Cubs had a pretty good feeling if they sent him down to the minor leagues that they would lose him because he was out of options. And rather than do that, he's still young enough, big enough, and strong enough where they figure that he can come around if that slider comes around, and they're hoping that that will happen sooner rather than later.
A bunt attempt popped up. Service behind the plate's going to make the play. And Cliff Floyd trying to bunt his way on. Like a real leadoff hitter, pops out.
Well, he's got tremendous speed for a big man, and all he had to do was get that bunt down, but he popped it up. When you drop the head of the bat, as he did there, you're going to pop it up every time. And it becomes a pretty easy play for Service.
So for only the second time in the game, the Cubs have set down the leadoff man. It's here in the fourth. And Edgar Renteria is your batter. That's extra bases into the left field corner. Henry Rodriguez over quickly. It's a one-out double. Five of the Marlins' 8 hits have been for extra bases already in the game.
First ball fastball, and this one catches too much of the plate. Edgar Renteria turns on it. They were playing him toward right center field, so nobody home down the left field line, and Renteria coasts into second base.
And Ryan Jackson again in that platoon with Derek Lee at first is your hitter. And Jimmy Riggleman trying to find an answer. String together some outs here. Low, 1 ball, no strikes. Breaking ball, a good one. It's 1-1.
That's the Telemaco slider, and when he keeps it there, it's an excellent pitch for him. If he has command of that, he can be pretty tough.
The 1-1. Strike called, a fastball. Renteria at second was bluffing toward third. I don't know if that distracted Jackson or not, but he took a fastball right down the middle.
They don't anticipate Jackson pulling the ball because Sammy is playing a little toward the line in right field. But there is a gap in right center for him.
1-2 is squibbed foul past first.
That one was fouled right off his foot. See Sammy playing fairly close to the line and the huge gap in right center. So they're hoping that Jackson doesn't turn on the ball and hit it into the gap because he can run all day.
Jackson, a former All-American at Duke. Swings, and that got a big chunk of the umpire, Frank Bully. Those guys take a beating behind the plate. Again, the 1-2 pitch due to Ryan Jackson. Here she comes. Breaking ball chopped towards second. Easy play there. Runner at third. Now 2 down. And danger, danger, Will Robinson. Here's Gary Sheffield.
I would think you'd want to be careful with Gary Sheffield. Even though Kotsay is 2 for 2 up behind him, he's not near the power threat of Gary Sheffield.
And you know he's going to be in a foul mood after getting hit in the hip last time up. He's got the Mr. T starters kit on him too, doesn't he? It's amazing he can run so well with all that hardware on. First pitch to him is in the dirt. Good play by Scott Service to knock that one down.
And when you have a guy throwing a lot of sliders like Telemaco, and you know that you want to be careful with Sheffield, it becomes a tough job for Service because when you try to guide sliders, they usually wind up in the dirt. So he's going to have to maybe block another 1 or 2 before this at bat is over.
Downstairs again. 2 balls, no strikes. Not a bad idea to be careful with this guy. He's already dented the tarp above the Bob Greasy sign in the upper deck once today. That missed high, I guess. Well, it's 3-0.
Well, you know he's got the 3-0 green light, and I would be amazed if Telemaco gives him anything to hit, because right now he's squeezing the sawdust out of the bat, looking for something middle in to hit over the Paul Warfield sign in left field.
And he takes ball 4. That would be impressive, but even more so if he could hit it over the Larry Little sign in left center. That's about 600 feet away from home plate.
Number 4, Mark Hudson.
Now, I know you could hit a golf ball that far.
Maybe.
Not much trouble.
That's a long way.
So they're at the corners with 2 outs, and Mark Kotsay's had a fine afternoon. Again, this Marlin team may struggle this season, but a couple of years from now, with all these youngsters growing up so quickly and all the talent they got in the trades they were forced to make, they might peak at the right time, for the Braves aren't getting much younger.
I don't think you're going to see him struggling all that much offensively. I really believe that the struggles will come from that starting rotation after Hernandez and a lot of that bullpen. Jim Leland's going to make a lot of trips to the mound this year.
Hasn't had to today, as his offense has given Livan Hernandez, who has struggled. 9 big runs.
Well, you unofficially have him at 90 pitches, and I don't think they want to see him go much over 110 or 15. So we're probably going to see a reliever in the 6th, depending on how he goes.
He overthrew that ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. But like the Marlins, you felt coming out of spring training, one of the question marks for the Cubs this season would be their middle relief. So a chance for Telemaco to perhaps answer some of those questions today.
Well, this is a big outing for him. He's going to slam the door on the Marlins to keep the Cubs close in this one.
Wild swing there. And Kotsay fouled it off.
Because it's not an if today at the 90 pitch mark through 4. It's a when the Cubs get into that bullpen. That's when you can put some numbers on the board, and that's why it's imperative for Amari Telemaco to hold them at 9.
Charles Johnson waiting on deck. He's hit a home run today as well. Two and two. Mets are batting in the bottom of the 14th inning at home against the Phillies. Bases loaded, 1 out. And Kotsay swings and misses, and Telemaco does the job. No runs, a hit, 2 men left. On we go to the 5th inning. Let's get some runs. It's 9-5 Fish. Rodriguez for the Cubs in the 5th. 9-5 our score. As we head to the top of the 5th, a chopper toward third. Booty can't make the play, nor can Renteria. He thought about throwing it before he caught it. Don't know if he would have gotten Sammy anyway.
I think that has to go as a base hit. But we'll wait and see what the official scorer has to say. As Sammy chops this one into the hole. Would have been a tough play. And there's been no decision yet.
So Grace will bat with a runner aboard here. It's a 9-5 game. Still very early. We've played just 4 innings. And with Livan Hernandez's pitch count starting to mount, the Marlins bullpen starts to get busy.
And I would think this could be a big inning for the Cubs. You've got to believe that Hernandez is starting to tire.
Grace, squib shot toward short. Renteria surrounds it. Gets Sammy there. Grace hustling down the line with a broken toe. Beats the wrap at first. Boy, you got to respect that.
Well, you know that Mark Grace is hurting, and yet he realizes how important beating out this double play is. Good slide by Sammy, doing everything he can, upending Counsell, who does a nice job of staying in and getting off the throw. And Gracie not running 100%, but giving it everything he's got. You got to give him a lot of credit for getting down there in time to beat the throw, and that could turn into some runs for the Cubs.
Here's Henry Rodriguez. He takes high. 1 ball, no strikes.
And on a belated call, after Grace hits, they do indeed give Sammy a base hit. So he's 2 for 3 today.
Henry swings through it. A ball and a strike. He got the game going in grand fashion in the first. A line drive laser beam home run over the boards in right center field. That's the good news.
Cubs could use another one right here.
You bet. There's a shot toward right center field, but he got under it. Gary Sheffield gives it a squeeze. 2 down.
Henry takes a look at a curveball, and this one stays up, but he just got under it, and he knows exactly where this one is going.
So Mark remains at first. Now 2 down for Jeff Blauser. He's got home run power, and heck, the only runs the Cubs have scored all day have been with 2 outs. Maybe here's another chance.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that Ryan Jackson is playing even that close to Grace. I would move back and allow him to steal if he wants, get a better angle in case Blauser does go to right field. Because there's no doubt that if you're reading the press clippings knowing that Grace has a broken toe, why even bother staying behind him?
Blauser lays off the slider, and the count now 1 ball, 2 strikes. Oh, almost hit it.
Well, now you got to figure after a little chin music, you're going to see that breaking ball away, and that's usually the pitch that Blauser takes to right field, as this one sails up and in. Jeff, with some pretty good reflexes, gets out of the way.
The 2-2. Fastball high and away. So now Grace will get a head start with 2 outs. The 3-2. Ball 4, 2 on, 2 outs for Kevin Ory.
Well, I would be very surprised if Hernandez goes beyond this 5th inning. He's right now just over the 100-pitch mark. And you've got Alfonseca and Sanchez loosening up in the pen. Now, you know Jim Leland wants to get Hernandez through this 5th. And after that, I think he's pretty much got to go to the pen.
So here's Kevin Ory, 2 on, 2 outs, a 9-5 game. Kevin doubled home a run back in the 3rd. Breaking ball of beauty.
Brian McRae just scored the winning run for the New York Mets as they defeat Philadelphia 1-0 in an extravaganza in New York.
14 innings and strike 2 to Ory. He's got to protect the plate now. Grace at second, Blauser at first. Here comes the 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
This is where a shortened swing that Jeff Pentland was talking with Kevin Ory about usually helps. You get 2 strikes. Pitcher tries to stay away and you take it to right center.
Slider he laid off, and now it's 2-2. Inside, 3-2. Nice at bat from the young man Kevin Ory here. Was down 2 strikes. Now it's full, and both Grace and Blauser now will giddy up here. The stretch, the 3-2. Breaking ball swung on, hammered high and deep in the air, left center field. Kotze's got a play at the edge of the scoreboard, and that retires the side. Ory just missed it. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. We're halfway home in Florida. 9-5 Marlins. Johnson grounds out to Jeff Blauser right through the wicket of Amari Telemaco as we open up the home half of the 5th inning. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Murray was able to knock it down. It goes 1-6-3, and Blauser alertly coming up the middle to get a less than fleet Charles Johnson. We'll see it again after it caroms off Telemaco. Good barehanded pickup, and he's got him by plenty at first.
Again, that defense up the middle ought to be very helpful as the season progresses. Greg Counsell bouncing ball. No defense will get that one. His 2nd hit of the day. And the 9th for the Marlins. And they haven't been exactly choosy, have they? Both men swinging at the first pitch here in the bottom of the 5th.
Looks to me like this would be the last inning that Telemaco would pitch, so he would like to finish it up holding the Marlins right there. He's due up 2nd in the 6th inning, and undoubtedly 4 runs down, he'll go to the bench.
Here's Booty. That skips away from service. The runner goes anyway, and Counsell stands at 2nd. We'll see if they give Counsell a stolen base or a wild pitch.
This one bouncing out of the glove. It's probably going to go as a wild pitch.
It is a wild pitch. Another runner in scoring position for the Marlins. And Woody fouls it away, and the count even 1-1.
bullpen up and going for the Cubs, and indeed Telemaco will give way to Ben Van Ryn.
The 1-1 off the end of the bat and foul. It's 1-2. Livan Hernandez is in the on-deck circle for the Marlins.
And with nobody up in the bullpen, you'd have to figure he's going to run out there at least for the 6th inning at just about the 104, 105 pitch mark.
A ball, 2 strikes. Down and in. It's 2-2. Mets beat the Phillies in 14 today, 1-0. Turk Wendell, I believe, the losing pitcher.
The winning pitcher in that one.
Excuse me, winning pitcher, I beg your pardon. San Diego 10, Reds 2 a final. Milwaukee playing the Braves, 1-1 the score there. The Cardinals shutting out the Dodgers as Booty strikes out for the 2nd out of the inning. And the 2nd by Telemaco.
Now Service wanted this fastball up and away. He got it down and out over the plate, and Booty just swung through it. So 1 more out, and Telemaco will have given the Cubs 2 very important innings right in the middle of this one.
Here's Hernandez, 0 for 2.
Got to play him fairly shallow and around toward right field. If he does get the bat on the ball, it's usually going to the right side.
Hits it towards short, but on a line to Blauser, and that retires the side. No runs, a hit, a man left. We are now through 5. It's a 9-5 Florida lead.
The Chicago National League Ball Club, which has right of approval of the announcers and is intended solely for the private and non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Chicago National League Ball Club is strictly prohibited.
Today's Discover Card Payback Playback takes us back to opening day 1996 when Scott Service's homer with 1 on and Mark Grace's 10th inning game-winning single got the Cubs in the win column to start the year, beating San Diego 5-4 in front of the friendly Confines faithful.
Holy cow! Mark Grace came through with a single to left.
Well, it'd be nice to have one of those in today's game from Florida. And speak of the devil, here's Scott Service leading things off against Livan Hernandez, who's got a 4-run cushion, but his pitch count is starting to mount. Cognizant of that, Jim Leland has his bullpen busy again. Good cut, and he fouled it back. Scott today 0 for 1 with a walk. The Cubs have been shut out in the 4th and the 5th.
Sanchez throwing in the bullpen.
The 1-1 Service, a little broken bat blooper into right, but it'll carry out to Sheffield. And the crowd of 41,126 applauds that play. And the Cubs leadoff man is retired here at Pro Players Stadium. So Service flies to right, and Manny Alexander will come on to pinch hit for Amari Telemaco.
Well, a very nice job by the bullpen thus far. Terry Mulholland 1 perfect inning, and Amari Telemaco 2 innings with no further damage.
And 2 balls, no strikes to Manny. Right through there, says Frank Pulley with that trademark overhand right. The 2-1. Off the end of his bat, out of play. It's 2-2.
Combination's going to hit a few of them out of the ballpark this year.
And they've already hit one today, and that Henry Rodriguez back in the 1st. The 2-2. Breaking ball ripped into right center field. Kotsay will try to cut it off, and he will. So Manny with a 1-out single here. We'll see if he'll be off and running or if the Cubs can create something here in the top half of the 6th. You got to believe somewhere along the line that Hernandez is going to run out of gas, and maybe he has, as Jimmy Leland on his way to the mound.
Well, you've got both Johnson and Morandini left-handers, and I got to believe that it's going to be Sanchez, and that's going to be it for Hernandez, and that indeed is.
Well, he didn't pitch as well as he did in the LCS or the World Series, but he pitched effectively enough. He's given up 5 runs, 7 hits. The runner at first belongs to him, and Sanchez comes on to try to put out the fire here in the 6th at the Tank. Carry along with Steve Stone. Great offensive ball game if you like offense on opening day, but the wrong team's got the big numbers so far.
Well, there's a long way to go, and the one question mark for the Marlins, among many question marks, is that bullpen, and we'll see if Jesus Sanchez can hold down the Cubs.
Yeah, that was my question. Who is this guy? They've got a lot of those kind of players on their team.
Well, he's a young man who was used exclusively as a starter last year. Had 26 starts, 3 complete games. He's not a big left-hander, just 5'10", 153 pounds, out of the Dominican Republic at Binghamton last year with the Mets. Was 13-10 with a 4.30 ERA, and Al Leiter went to the Mets, and Sanchez, one of the guys to come over from the Mets.
So with Lance Johnson and Mickey Morandini facing him now, Sanchez goes to work with Alexander at first, and the first pitch served into center right at Kotze. 2 down. So his first major league pitch gets him an out. Not too shabby.
It's hard to believe you've got 14 rookies in this Marlin roster opening day. 16 different faces than last year, and an exceptionally young team.
Now with 2 outs, Mickey Morandini the batter. And that pitch not made. Morandini today is 1 out of 3. He scored one of the 3 Cub runs in the first and has since flied to center twice. And that one sweeps away. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, if Sanchez does not get Morandini, I doubt if he's going to be around to face Sosa, because a 3-run homer makes this one a very tight game, and you've got Alfonseca throwing in the bullpen, the big right-hander.
2 balls, no strikes. Boy, Alfonseca looks like he's put on a few pounds in the offseason.
Got that big World Series check.
The 2-0. Right through there, 2-1. Five game. We're in the 6th. Right back where it came from. Counsell gobbles it up and wins the race to the bag. A bang play at second, and Alexander retired, and so are the Cubs. Sanchez did his job. Good play by Counsell.
Years as Chicago's very own.
We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Good to see the great fans here in South Florida out to cheer on their Marlins. Chip Carey along with Steve Stone here this afternoon. Jim Riggleman's club had a 3-0 lead. Lost it in a 6-run first inning flurry by the Marlins, and now the Cubs go to the pen again, and Ben Van Ryn will try to keep goose eggs on the scoreboard here.
Well, Van Ryn really forced his way on this club. He had a great Cactus League. 10 appearances, a 1.80 ERA, and he beat out Alan Mahaffey, a Rule 5 draft. So he threw the ball well. He got the ball over the plate. And we'll look at the AAA numbers last year. Not near as impressive as he showed this spring, where he threw the ball very well.
Floyd greets him rudely, though. He has had a terrific game today. A single, a double, a run scored. And that was one of the question marks on this Marlin team. Could this guy bat in the leadoff spot? Didn't answer it in spring. Maybe answering it some today.
Well, after a terrible spring, Cliff Floyd, realizing the spring doesn't count at all, has come out roaring, and now it's a good hit and run situation. Floyd has excellent speed. Renteria usually grounds into a lot of double plays, so you wonder if they would send him. Now, he hasn't seen the Van Ryn move, so let's see if he shows it to him.
A strike on the outside corner. As Garth Brooks found out, I think the Van Ryn move is pretty good. Garth Brooks was a pinch runner for the Padres down in spring training. Nearly got picked off. The one strike offering. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Renteria today 1-for-2. Has scored a run and has doubled.
Van Ryn doesn't have anything overpowering, but you have to admire his persistence. He made the ball club as a non-roster invitee. And the Cubs' scarcity of left-hand pitchers certainly played to his favor. But make it he did, and here he is on opening day.
Runner goes, pitch, swing and a miss. The service throw is in time. Strike him out, throw him out, double play.
Well, there was the hit and run we talked about, and a fine throw by Scott Service turns into a double play. No contact from Renteria, who fanned 109 times last year, and the throw is right on the button. They cut him down at second base. The call by Ed Rapuano.
So quickly, 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th for Ryan Jackson. And he rips it into right. Good thing they did get the double play.
Well, you get out the right-hander, and the 2 left-handers get base hits, and now you have to face the man you don't want to face, Gary Sheffield.
This game is funny, isn't it? So Sheffield announced, and he'll dig in. He has homered. He's been hit by a pitch. He has walked.
And I think it's going to be to the bullpen and Mark Peixoto.
So he'll become the 5th Cub pitcher on the afternoon. We'll see if he can retire. Gary Sheffield and the Marlins right after this. A lot of standing around in the Cubs outfield today as the Marlins have put 9 on the scoreboard through 5 innings and 2/3. They have played a long ball, Steve, in very impressive fashion today.
Well, the first bomb came off the bat of Gary Sheffield, this in the 1st inning. And then it was Charles Johnson who came back in the 3rd inning with a towering home run. And the Cubs find themselves looking up at a 9-5 score with Mark Peixoto coming into the game, and those are pretty impressive numbers. He threw very well out of the bullpen last year. He inherits Jackson at first base, 2 outs. The very dangerous Gary Sheffield, who has a perfect day today. A 3-run bomb, hit by a pitch, drew a base on balls. And year after year, he has well over a 400 on base percentage, which for a slugger is quite an accomplishment.
So Peixoto against Sheffield here. 2 outs, 1 on. Marlins by 4. And that missed low. 1 ball, no strikes. Downstairs, 2-0.
Here's where you have to be careful. It's very tough to get inside on Sheffield, so when you go in, you want to go in off the plate, but you're already down 2-0. And that means you just as soon stay away and try to have him pull the ground ball to the left side. They're playing him as a dead pull hitter with Blauser well over in the hole.
Slider and a good one. 2-1.
It was a good spot for a 2-0 pitch. It forced him to try to pull it, and Sheffield, well ahead of Peixoto, realized that that was a pitcher's pitch, not his pitch, and he's looking for something better. Off
his fists and into the big crowd. And the count now moves to 2 balls, 2 strikes. Again for Jim Riggleman. Tomorrow it's Mark Clark tomorrow evening against Felix Heredia. And what a pickup Mark Clark was for the Cubs. And Heredia, the former relief pitcher, now pressed into starting duty for Jimmy Leland.
56 appearances last year, all out of the bullpen for Heredia. It'll be interesting to see how he adjusts to the starting rotation.
The 2-2 now to Sheffield. High chop off the plate, just fouled past first.
Well, the Cubs get a break because that would have scored a run. And bear in mind, it's not where it hits once it crosses the bag, it's where it crosses the bag. And with Charlie Williams on the line, he had the best look at it, and he called it just foul. The Cubs get a break here. No chance for Grace. Charlie Williams says it crossed the bag foul, and that would have definitely scored a run.
Again, the 2-2 now to the Marlins slugger Gary Sheffield. High and tight. It's full now, 3-2.
The reason you didn't want to go there with 2 outs is that Jackson gets a running start. He doesn't have great speed, but with a running start, he can score on any 2-base hit.
Here comes the 3-2 runner goes. Breaking ball almost hit him, and Sheffield, as Yogi would say, it's deja vu all over again.
On base 4 times today, nothing new for Gary Sheffield. Now you have to deal with the youngster who swings from the left side, Mark Kotsay.
And who's had a good day today. 2 for 3, a couple of runs scored, but did strike out his last time up. By the way, Tampa Bay welcomes a major league team to the American League this year, and Detroit is rudely welcoming them. It's 11-0 Tigers over at Tropicana Field in St. Pete. And Machado overthrew that pitch. 1 ball, no strikes. Later tonight, Colorado battles the Diamondbacks down in Phoenix. Sheffield at first. Ryan Jackson at second. Now the 1-0. Breaking ball missed away.
The Marlins have done a good job with their #1 draft choices. Kotsay is a #1 draft choice. In 1996, Charles Johnson also a #1 draft choice, both in the major leagues. And Jim Leland in his 13th year of managing.
Bowser dancing behind the runner at second. Shota steps off. Yeah, it's funny. So many quarters, Steve, you hear fans and owners and managers complain about the salaries of major league players. First, the 2-0 popped up. But so few teams, it seems, put a lot of money into their farm systems. As Grace leans in, did he come up with the ball?
Yes, he did.
He did. Great play by Mark Grace to retire the side. And certainly the Marlins have one of the best farm systems in the major leagues. Florida goes scoreless in their half of the 6th. Great play by Mark Grace to retire him. It's like a 9-to-5 performance today for Scott Service. He's put in a lot of extra duty behind the plate. A lot of pitches have been tossed his way this afternoon as the Cubs trail the Marlins 9-5 as we move now to the 7th inning. Innings are getting scarce now. 7th, 8th, and 9th, and the Cubs' heart of the order is due up here with the young, untested left-hander Sanchez on the mound for the Marlins.
And the bullpen up and going for Jim Leland's Marlins. So apparently they're not quite sure that Sanchez is going to be able to get through the heart of the order.
But he has some great minor league numbers, does he not? This kid on the mound for the Fish.
Well, more strikeouts than innings pitched. And that shows pretty good stuff. The question is, can he get the ball over the plate? And that's the question for a lot of young hard throwers.
2 balls, no strikes to Sammy. Oh, what a cut. And he missed it. 2-1. Hey, that's very nice. Thanks, Rod. Don't want to quibble, but it's AY, guys. Nothing personal, but we appreciate the thought. The 2-1. Fouled off Charles Johnson. And again, thank you so much to all the the great fans for all their wonderful thoughts and prayers and warm wishes, not only to me, but our entire family. We can't thank you enough for that. As we're in the 7th inning here. The 2-2. Strike 3 call. Sammy totally fooled on that pitch.
I think Sanchez is pretty deceptive, Chip, because he's a short arm left-hander, and I don't think you see the ball very well. He does throw hard, and this one completely fools Sammy. It's a pretty good pitch. He just took it.
So 1 out, bases empty. And Mr. Sanchez very impressive so far in his inning and a third of work. Lefty-lefty battle now as Mark stands in, and he takes inside. 1-0.
Gracie does a nice job against the left-handers because he keeps that front shoulder in. He normally goes either back up the middle or to left center against them. Let's see how he fares against Sanchez.
Right through there. 1-1.
Manny Alexander, who came through with a pinch single today.
Grace pulled it foul. It's 1-2. Well, friends, if you're planning a group outing during 1998, and if you have a group of 20 or more, Wrigley Field provides the perfect setting for corporate, family, or social outings. Plenty of seats are available, so make your plans now. And be sure to ask about special discounts given to groups of 50 or more. And Mark Grace has an infield hit.
Well, we talked about Mark going the opposite way against the left-handers. He probably wasn't thinking about an infield hit, but Renteria made a great play just to keep the ball in the infield, and there's nothing he can do with it. Even though Gracie has the bad foot, he beat out a double play ground ball earlier, and now he has an infield hit. He's not going to have many of those this year.
Man, he'll take it. He'll take it for sure. But isn't it funny about this game? It seems now the shortstop position is becoming the next great crop of young players. The Alex Rodriguez's, the Renterias, the Jeters, and on you can go. Terrific young players at that position around the major leagues.
Well, it used to be primarily a defensive position. They used to tell you, a la Mark Belanger, doesn't matter what you hit, just catch it. Ozzie Smith came up, he could catch everything, couldn't hit. Now the shortstops are getting bigger and stronger, and they're becoming offensive players.
Henry takes low. 2 balls, no strikes, and I guess you can thank Cal Ripken for that, a man who may have revolutionized the position offensively, at least in the modern era.
Well, everybody said he was ticketed for third. Earl Weaver said, I think you can play short, and the rest is history.
And he was right.
He was right for many games.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And now they talk about eventually shifting Cal over to first base, because they've got a young third baseman who's supposed to be just outstanding, and when he comes of age, they anticipate Ripken making the move.
2 balls and a strike to Henry. That's high. 3-1.
Well, here's where the lefty-lefty advantage evens out for the hitter, because you pretty much know you're going to get a fastball. And if you get it middle in, Henry can hit it as far as anybody.
The pitch. Ball 4, 2 on, 1 man out, and Jeff Blauser, the hitter. As he strides to the plate, we remind you our senior producer director of Cubs baseball is Mr. Arnie Harris. Today's game was produced by Pete Toma, our associate producer Bart Fox, and the coordinating producer of Cubs baseball is Kim Fields. Delighted to have all you guys with us. We're looking forward to a fun season of Cubs baseball in 1998. So Sanchez walks Rodriguez. 2 men on, 1 man out. A right-hand hitter due up in Jeff Blauser, and Antonio Alfonseca will take the ball for Jim Leland. We'll see how he fares right after this. Well, Steve, last year this guy Antonio Alfonseca was just a big right-hander. He has graduated to Portland for 1998.
Well, they've got him at 235 pounds. I think he flew by that a long time ago.
I wish I had their scale.
He's a very big man at 6'5", and an unusual man because he has 6 fingers and 6 toes on each hand and each foot. And there's a look at the numbers. He is a hard-throwing right-hander. 17 appearances last year. Did his best work at Charlotte, and he inherits base runners at first and second. Only 1 out, and Cub fans up and bounding here in South Florida.
And they'd love to see Jeff Blauser come through again here in the 7th. And Alfonseca Fires a fastball high. One thing about this big right-hander, you know he'll give you 120%.
6 fingers, you can understand that.
1 ball, no strikes, the runners lead. The pitch to Jeff. Swing and a miss. He swung late.
Last year, I remember I told your grandfather he had 6 fingers, and Harry wouldn't believe it until Arnie had a close-up from about 4 different angles of all 6 of his fingers.
Blauser, high chop up the middle. Renteria steps on the bag. 1 on the first 2. And the double play retires the side. Alfonseca gets 2 outs with 3 pitches, and the Cubs out of luck in the top of the 7th. On we go to the bottom half. This 7th inning stretch for you, Grandpa. It's 9-5 Florida.
GN, celebrating 50 years as Chicago's very own.
Here's Charles Johnson, whose 3-run homer back in the 3rd really broke our backs. The Cubs had battled back to make it a 1-run game, and then with 1 swing of the bat, he built the lead back to 9-5. And he rips that one foul past third.
It was as if everybody got tired. They came out, a lot of energy. All the runs scored in the first 3 innings, and since then, both offenses have been silenced by the bullpens.
Which is a bit of a surprise. We weren't sure if both bullpens would be up to snuff, but they've done a good job today. 1-2 now to CJ. Before he takes another hack, let's once again pause for station identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN, Chicago.
Chip Carey's Steve Stone from South Florida. A 1-2 to Charles Johnson. Nice slider. Have a seat, CJ. 1 down. That was a nasty pitch.
Pashota came in, did a nice job of getting out of that 6th inning, and he starts this 7th with a good slider, perfect spot, and Johnson takes a seat.
So a good start here in the 7th. And the number 7 man in the order, Craig Counsell, the batter.
You gotta like this young man because he never overswings. He takes exactly what the pitcher gives him, and he's a very solid second baseman.
A fastball strike, and they didn't exactly hand the second base job to him this year. He really had to work for it.
A lot of people felt that he might have been lost over the wintertime because I'm sure there's many teams looking for middle infielders. There was a scarcity of middle infielders this year.
How would this guy have looked in a Boston Red Sox uniform after the injury they suffered? They, of course, signed former Brave Mark Lemke the other day. High chop toward second. Morandini can't get it. It's into center, and Counsell has a 3-hit opening day.
That's the second time that Counsell went back up the middle, this time by a diving Morandini. A triple, a couple of singles, and a run batted in, and you have to believe that Dave Dombrowski, the brand new daddy, is very happy about his very young, essentially brand new Marlin team. Coming off a world championship, but a lot of different faces around this year.
Booty had a big cut. It's 0-1.
Well, Booty's not going to be able to catch up to the high fastball. His swing is just too long right now, and that's something that hitting instructor Milt May has tried to work with him to shorten up that swing. If he doesn't, he will fall victim to many inside fastballs this year.
Little chop, foul down the third base line, and it's 0-2. You remember your first opening day?
I do. As a player or a broadcaster?
Well, as a player.
As a player, very much. I remember the first game I pitched. Dave Campbell, you know him, single to center, and a guy named Dave Stahl hit a 2-run homer. So after 2 hitters, I had an infinite ERA. Wound up with a no decision that day against San Diego.
It didn't take you long to whittle that down. A snap throw to first. and Counsell just does get back.
Well, I wound up with 3 no decisions, and it took me till my 4th game where I shut out Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh when they had Clemente and Stargell and the rest
what a
of
thrill that had to be.
those Bombers in 1971. And I had my family there to watch it, so that definitely was a thrill.
Nothing like opening day, and Craig Counsell has 3 hits on his. The 1-2 pitch now to Booty. Foul back to the backstop. Nine runs, 12 hits, 1 error for the Marlins. 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 error for the Cubs. Neither team has scored since the 3rd inning. Booty had an RBI ground out back in the 1st, but is 0 for 3 today. And he strikes out. Another good breaking ball from Mark Pachota.
Booty knows that he's only going to be here until Bobby Bonilla comes back, and it could be about a week, as much as 10 days, and then he will go down and get much needed AAA at bats. This is really a hanging slider that he swings through, and Booty can do it defensively, having a little problem offensively at this point. And Al Fonseca will wrap his 12 fingers around the bat.
Is it 12 fingers or 10 and 2 thumbs? I'm not sure about.
You got me on a technicality.
Yeah, I get your point though. And he does not look like he's very comfortable in the box. One ball, 1 strike. I wonder who gives him batting gloves, though.
You think they're specially made?
I wonder if he's got them on, but why? Downstairs, 2-1.
No, it's a regular 4-fingered 1-thumb batting glove.
Thank you for being specific. 2 balls and a strike. Ooh. 2-2. And even he's, well, kind of half smiling at that effort.
I got to figure with that stroke, this is going to be a fairly short at bat.
Strike 3 call. Pachota strikes out the side in the 7th. We move to the 8th. Let's get some runs. It's 9-5 Marlins.
All on WGN is the Discover Card. Discover Card, the card that pays you back with a cashback bonus award.
You're watching WGN, celebrating 50 years as Chicago's very own.
There's John Cangelosi, one of the fine veteran bench players for Jim Leyland's ball club. We head to the 8th inning. It's 9-5. And now here's Steve with today's Ameritech play that makes a difference.
In the 1st inning, Henry Rodriguez steps up against last year's all-everything, Livan Hernandez, and greets him rather rudely with a 3-run bomb. At the time, put the Cubs up 3-0, and that's the Ameritech playbook.
But Gary Sheffield in the bottom half hit a 3-run homer himself, and the Marlins have not looked back since. 7, 8, 9 for the Cubs here in the 8th inning. Ori, service, and a pinch hitter. It's 9-5. The Fish have the lead. Chopper towards second. Counsell charges. 1 out. Well, we showed you that shot of John Cangelosi we mentioned earlier in the day. The Marlins were still trying to trade either him or Jim Eisenreich, or both of those players. In fact, the Marlins bench very, very thin today. Jimmy Eisenreich not with the team. He's attending to a family funeral up in Minnesota. So Cangelosi, the lone veteran, on the Florida bench, available for pinch hitting or pinch running or pinch outfielding duties this afternoon.
And speaking of pinch hitting, Tyler Houston in the on-deck circle. He'll come on to pinch hit for Mark Pachota, and the bullpen was brilliant today. Well, Holland, Telemaco, Van Ryn, and Pachota slammed the door on the suddenly resurgent Marlins.
Service pops it up and out of play.
And I say resurgent because they were 11-17 in spring training, which doesn't mean much. But a lot of their bombers are gone. A completely different team. And a very, very tough outing for Kevin Tapani, who was charged with all 9 of the runs in 2+ innings.
The 0-2 swing and a miss from Service, and there's out number 2. Well, if you look at the numbers for Kevin Tapani, April and May have always been April has always been his toughest month. He's 8-10 lifetime in the month of April, and then after that his ERA has never been higher than 4.4. So he's given up the worst pitching outing of his career today. It can only get better. At least you hope.
Well, now Sandy Martinez is going to pinch hit with nothing doing. You're going to keep Tyler Houston in case you do have something up in the 9th, and Sandy Martinez getting a look at Alfonseca.
And he takes a stride. I guess the book on him is great arm, pretty good catcher, but as you see, the bat needs some work. Rips it right to first. Ryan Jackson to an E, makes the play, and the Cubs out of luck in the 8th. We go to the bottom half. Marlins still have a 4-run lead.
Irresistible. Luscious. The new 99-cent Great Tastes menu at Burger King. 7 mouth-watering items, just 99 cents every day. What could be more tempting?
Are you going to eat all that?
Yeah. If you ask us, it just tastes better.
Here's your mail, Fred.
This saves me a trip.
Well, how's that?
Well, a while back, me and the missus heard about Premier Diabetic Services. We gave them a call, and now they send us all the diabetic supplies we need directly through the mail. The best part is it doesn't cost me a cent.
No kidding.
Yeah, mine's covered by Medicare, and Betty's is covered by her private insurance.
Sounds like you hit on a good thing, Fred.
Call Premier Diabetic today at 1-800-938-1615 to see if you qualify. That's 1-800-938-1615.
Now they can be seen on the shores of Lake Michigan. Whales. The new Omnimax film playing at the Museum of Science and Industry.
Whether it's by design or by accident, a first kiss is never forgotten. Dawson's Creek.
A special night, Wednesday at 11 on WGN.
There's the Hall of Famer, Billy Williams. And hopefully the pen can continue its good work with the crafty veteran Bob Patterson on the mound.
Well, the record is deceiving. Patterson had a fine year last year in 76 appearances, a 3.34 ERA. He's had 2 very good years for the Cubs, and he is the premier left-hander in the bullpen, and he is also the 6th Cub pitcher today, and the bullpen has been flawless. Mulholland, Telemaco, Van Ryn, Peixoto, and now Patterson have followed Tapani.
And they've given up only 5 hits, no runs, and have struck out 6 Marlins. So Patterson will try to keep up that good work as he takes on Cliff Floyd here, who's had a very productive day in the leadoff spot for the Marlins. 2 balls, no strikes. Same 2 teams tomorrow. It's a night game. Mark Clark against Felix Heredia. And then the finale of the series will pit Jeremy Gonzalez against Rafael Medina. There's Terry Adams getting ready should Patterson have some trouble.
And here's an oddity. Cliff Floyd is leading off an inning for the 5th time.
So, right through there.
So playing the leadoff hitter to perfection, as the pitchers have ended 4 different innings for the Marlins.
Strike 2. Full count now, 3 balls, 2 strikes. And that just missed outside, a leadoff walk here in the 8th inning. As Floyd strides to first. Let's check out who's cleaning up in baseball. Brought to you by Hoover, who leads the major leagues in doubles in the 90s. Mark Grace over a guy I think might be the best right-hand hitter in the American League, Edgar Martinez. That guy is a doubles machine for the Seattle Mariners. And Rafael Palmeiro, Tony Gwynn, Paul Molitor. Here's Renteria. He takes outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Marlins scored 6 in the first, and that's all they've needed today. The runner goes. Blauser saves an error.
Well, actually, that wasn't that bad a throw, but nobody was at second base. Nobody believed that Floyd was going to run. And so when Service came up throwing, there was a lack of communication as to who was going to take the throw. And as you can see, Blauser late arriving, not a bad throw at all. And as he goes head over heels, Cliff Floyd winds up with a stolen base. So they're going to have to get that together, and it's early yet.
How many to go after today?
Only 161. As Jim Riggleman talking with Dan Radisson about who is supposed to cover on that play. They'll have to work that out. Bear in mind, these two guys are new to one another, and they've got to figure out just exactly what they want to do in a steal situation.
One ball, one strike. Ripped into right field. That's going to drop for a hit. Sammy charges. And Floyd gets the big stop sign. First and third, nobody out. And Mr. Patterson being greeted very rudely here in his 98 debut.
Renteria doing what he should do, trying to go to right field with a man at second base and nobody out. And he dumps it right at Sammy Sosa. And there's no way that Rich Donnelly is going to gamble with nobody out. So runners at the corners. And Ryan Jackson with an opportunity. And the youngsters have come through pretty well today for the Marlins.
Jackson 2 for 4. Kotze 2 for 4. Craig Counsell 3 for 4 today. And Jackson hits a high pop foul down the left field line that will bounce into the Cubs bullpen and out of play. You don't take liberties with Mr. Sosa in right.
You can see last year in right field, the two men in the ball game today, Sosa and Sheffield, led the way.
Service with a long look into the Cubs dugout. As Jackson digs in, Floyd at third, Renteria at first. A 9-5 Marlin game. They're threatening to put it away here in the bottom of the 8th. Right through there. No balls, 2 strikes. Served down the left field line and foul.
Well, now we'll see if Jim Riggleman wants to give Terry Adams a little work in getting used to coming in tough situations, because if he does, then he's going to bring him in to face Sheffield regardless of what Jackson does. Granted, it would be another pitcher, and with the infield in here trying to cut off that all-important 10th run, you wonder if he's going to bring Adams in.
Little pop again out of play. There's Mr. Adams. There's Mr. Jackson. And there's Mr. Floyd. And there's Mr. Renteria. And there's a ground ball to second. Morandini's coming home. Save! What a slide from Floyd.
Floyd Floyd has tremendous speed, and he employed all of that speed and tacked on a good slide around service to go with it. Morandini had to take a step to his right. Even with the infield in, the great speed of Cliff Floyd allowed him to sneak in, and he just slides right around service. A very good call by Frank Pulley, and the 10th run does indeed score, and the 7th pitcher will indeed come into this game. And watch it again, a great slide by Floyd, and it's a 10-5 game.
So Jim Riggleman hands the ball to Terry Adams. 10-5 the score. We shall see how Mr. Adams fares right after this.
It's being hailed as the best.
Well, part one, Steve, was pretty good last year. They didn't win their division, but they went from the wild card to the World's Championship. And if they can win the World Series with this cast of characters, they deserve all the credit in the world.
Well, today they look like a World Series contender as Terry Adams, the 7th Cub pitcher, comes in. He had a very good beginning last year, a tough ending, a 4.62 ERA overall, and he inherits runners at first and second. Nobody out here in the 8th inning, and the Marlins pulling away.
So here's Gary Sheffield, and a breaking ball is high. 1 ball. No strikes. Gary with a monstrous home run into the upper deck in his first at bat. A breaking ball of beauty. It's 1-1. Adams, the closer of the future for this ball club. Does he have the stuff? I mean, he performed very well in that role last year.
Well, they've talked about it at times, and then Phil Regan wanted him to add 1 more pitch to his repertoire. And in situations like this is what he's going to have to face, not necessarily with a 5-run deficit, but the best hitter.
Base hit into left center field. Late break by Renteria, and they put up the red light. And Sheffield single loads the bases here in the 8th.
Well, he had to hold up because he didn't know if Blauser was going to be able to get to that one, and you don't want to get doubled off, taken out of a big inning. So it's pretty good heads-up base running play by Edgar Renteria, and it loads the bases with nobody out.
Well, here's one of those aforementioned young players for the Marlins. It has been a day served by youth. Kotze with a couple of hits, a couple of runs.
Infield in at all 4 positions, and they will come home with it.
The Marlins with 14 hits, 10 runs, bidding for more with nobody out, and a quick strike from Adams. 0-1. Slider down and in. A ball and a strike. Kotze, the Golden Spikes Award winner, Cal State Fullerton. As a youngster, the pitch, swing and a foul back. It's 1-2. Or I guess I should say as a younger youngster. Edgar Renteria at third. Ryan Jackson at second. Gary Sheffield, your runner, at first. And Mark Kotze in the box against Terry Adams with the bases loaded in the bottom half of the 8th. There's a fly into left. Henry Rodriguez. The catch, the tag at third. And a run will score to make it 11-5 Marlins. A sacrifice fly from Kotze.
Well, the Marlins talk about Mark Kotze understanding how to play the game, and he was looking for something up in the strike zone, knowing that if he hit it to left or center, it would be very difficult with the arms of Rodriguez and Johnson to throw anybody out, and drove home the 11th run and the first of the day driven in by Kotze.
Well, Charles Johnson's driven in more than one. He drove in 3 with the big hit of the day back in the 3rd inning. A a 3-run home run. And he takes high, I suppose. 1 ball, no strikes. The Cubs had pulled to within 6-5, and then Johnson uncorked a blast on a 1-1 pitch from Kevin Tapani. That made it a 9-5 game. The 1-0 breaking ball is high. 2-0. Only 1 man out in the 8th inning. The 2-0 breaking ball crushed, but he's out in front. Oh man, that ball really hammered.
Fortunately, out a little too quickly, and that one crushed foul. Watch it again from our left field camera coming off the bat, and no doubt about the distance. Would it stay fair long enough? And the answer is no.
The 2-1 fooled him badly. Nice comeback pitch there from Adams. 2-2.
Well, if he keeps the slider away from Johnson, he's going to strike him out. The question is, can you get it in the same spot again?
Two balls, 2 strikes. Got him. Good fastball. That thing had some giddy up on it. And there's out number 2.
Kept this one away from Johnson, just threw it right by him. Hit the spot perfectly, and Johnson goes down for the 2nd time on strikes. And here's been a thorn in the side of the Cubs today, Craig Counsell.
3 for 4 today. And a breaking ball of beauty. Counsell lives in Chicago in the offseason. Notre Dame alumnus, born in South Bend. They got him from the Rockies for Mark Hutton last July 27th. Ripped hard, but out of play. Look out, folks. And Counsell pick out a new piece of lumber. So Adams quickly out in front. No balls, 2 strikes. And there is the closer to be for the Marlins. If Jay Powell comes on, it would not, of course, be a save situation, for the lead is too great. But you might as well consider it. Get him used to pitching the 9th.
I don't think you want to allow your closer too many days, so you let him pitch an inning, and hopefully he can wrap it up without too much drama if you're Jim Leyland.
Again, the 0-2. Missed outside. 1-2. And I would have to say, Stoney, from Leland's perspective, this day went perfectly for him. He hasn't had to use his bullpen with 2 very inexperienced pitchers going the next 2 days.
And he got just enough out of his starter and World Series MVP, Livan Hernandez. And once again, his team scored Hernandez a barrel full of runs.
That just missed. Adams thought he had him punched out. Count 2-2.
A lot of excitement later on in the Valley of the Sun in Phoenix as the Diamondbacks will entertain the Rockies in the first official game at Bob, the Bank One ballpark.
The 2-2. Little tapper foul. When I was out in Arizona briefly, I thought, did America West move the airport? Thing looks like an airplane hangar in downtown Phoenix.
It's going to be a beautiful ballpark, and they're hoping to have a little better outcome than those Tampa Bay Devil Rays, who came up on the short end of 11-0 score.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome to expansion
That's
baseball.
Exactly right. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Breaking ball high. I'll tell you what, that Tiger team is going to be a fun team to watch. Buddy Bell and Randy Smith and company have done a terrific job building a young core of talent there.
Well, they also moved to the Central, which is a little softer than the AL East.
That's going to be a fun team to watch. Now a 3-2 pitch to Counsell. Runners go. Swing and a miss. Service applies the tag, and the side is retired. But the Marlins pick up 2 more on 3 hits. We go to the 9th. The Cubs need 6 to tie here in South Florida.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, offering low fares and frequent flights. Southwest Airlines, the official airline of the Chicago Cubs.
Hi, I'm Linda Carter.
Those very own.
11-5 as we go to the ninth inning. Marlins go to the pen again. They bring on their closer to be Jay Powell. He's got the big shoes of Rob Nen to fill down here in South Florida, and Powell lifetime has just 4 saves.
He had a good year last year in 74 appearances, a 7-2 record, a 3.28 ERA. But just 2 saves last year as he was the setup man for Rob Nen. This year, that auspicious job falls to him.
Yeah, Nen had 108 saves as a Marlin. Powell 104 fewer. And Johnson takes a strike. Lance today is 0 for 3 with a walk. He's popped out and flied out twice. That's a rocket into right field. It'll drop in front of Sheffield and scoot to the wall. Johnson's got 2 for sure. He'll make third without a play. So we need the rally caps tonight, and Johnson a spark here in the ninth with a leadoff triple.
Lance Johnson is one of the great triples hitters in the major leagues, and this is a very good triples park. Gets one out over the plate, gets it by Gary Sheffield, and then Lance is off to the races. So a good start to the ninth inning as the Cubs need 6 to tie.
So Mickey Morandini will stand in, and he takes high, 1 ball, no strikes. Well, the old triple. Boys, talk about a stat happening in a game that you almost never see with any great frequency anymore. Cookie cutter ballparks, perhaps smaller ballparks. This is the kind of place that, as you said, with the odd angles, the wacky wall angles here, balls will carry them all over the place and gives the runner a chance to go for 3.
Well, you've got some heavy grass in the outfield also, and if it does get by, it doesn't ricochet off that wall all that quickly. It's a good spot for that.
Hot shot to short. Renteria knocks it down, holds the runner at third. Infield hit. They're at the corners with nobody out.
Well, a lot of hustle by Mickey Morandini, not taking anything for granted. Renteria should have never even looked at third. You're 6 runs up. You have to just get that ball and throw it to first base. Give him an error on that one and watch it again. He knocks it down and kind of takes a little look at third base before getting it across, and Morandini hustling all the way beats the play.
And they charge that an infield hit. That's the 9th of the day for the Cubs. Here's Sosa. He takes outside. Well, now they change it. They put a 2 in the error column, so it's the second Marlins error on the day. Weekly hit to short. Renteria will go to second, 1. Sosa reaches safely. Johnson scores from third. The run costs the Cubs an out and gives Sosa the RBI.
The first baseman, number 17, Mark.
So Sammy's at first, 1 in, 1 out. And Mark Gracier batter. Mark singled his last time up in the 7th, reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th. Popped to third in the 3rd, walked and scored back in the 1st. And a breaking ball stood him up. (11-6). That's inside. Well, an 11-run game here, an 11-0 game in Tampa, a 9-2 game down in Texas. San Diego scored 10 at Cincinnati.
And then you look to Philadelphia, where they went 14 to scratch out 1 run. And Turk Wendell, the beneficiary of that run in the 14th. Ryan McRae scores it, and the Mets beat the Phillies 1-0.
The 2-1. Breaking ball. He was out in front. And the count evens to Mark Grace. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, you got to tip your cap to this guy playing with a broken toe on his right foot. He was 50-50 yesterday as to whether he would even play today. Leg down to fielder's choice back in the 5th. It kept the Cubs out of a double play. And has a hit as well on the afternoon. 3 balls, 2 strikes from Powell. The last thing he wants to do is walk anybody. Well, he strikes out Grace, who almost sat down and swung so hard.
Well, very rarely will you see Mark Grace strike out against right-handers. But strike out he does, and he's a most unhappy man as the Cubs down to their last out as that ball sinks away from Grace. And you got to believe there's a little pressure on that foot of Mark Grace as the heat starts to rise up around his neck and head.
So the final opportunity perhaps as Henry Rodriguez digs in. Well, he started the ball game off with a bang, didn't he, with 2 outs. In the first, he crushed a long home run to right to put the Cubs up by 3. He checked his swing that time, and it's 2-0. He had an outstanding spring. 7 home runs. It carried over into opening day. Strike on the outside corner. It's 2-1. Hit hard, but foul past first. And now we're down to our final strike.
All the fans on their feet as they stand and applaud this very young Marlin team.
Almost hit him. It's 3-2. Payoff again. Ball 4. He walks him with 2 outs. So Powell has struggled a bit here in the top of the 9th. A triple, a single, and now a walk.
And the bullpen up and going. And it's a couple more youngsters. Enriquez, the right-hander, and the left-hander is take your pick.
I think it's Vic Derridsburg. That's my guess. Here's Blauser.
I'll buy that.
Jeff 1 for 3 in his Cubs debut. Cubs have him first and second in an 11-6 game. Strike. Bouncing ball up the middle. Renteria gobbles it up. He'll flip to Counsell, and the Marlins win the opener. 11-6 the final. The season starts with a bang as the fireworks go off. A lot of offense, Stoney, here today in South Florida. There's your final. 11-6. The Marlins beat the Cubs. Totals and highlights right after this.
Years as Chicago's very own.
There's your final score for the Marlins. 11 runs, 14 hits, 2 errors. The Cubs 6 runs, 9 hits, 1 error. Hernandez beats Tapani today on opening day in South Florida. Here's our Budweiser play of the game. The Cubs cut the ball game to 6-5 until Charles Johnson with a clutch 3-run homer in the bottom of the 3rd put the game out of reach as the Marlins go on to win it 11-6. Again, our final score 11-6. Our next telecast on WGN will be Thursday when the Cubs and Marlins wrap up our 3-game season opening series from South Florida. Our broadcast begins at 12 noon. So for Steve Stone, Dan Roan, and our entire crew, this is Chip Carey. Thanks for joining us from South Florida. We'll see you tomorrow.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN. Brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste. The Discover Card, the card that pays you back with a cashback bonus award. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Pepsi, Generation Next. ComEd, providing customers with reliable electric service for over 100 years. And by Southwest Airlines, offering low fares and frequent flights. Southwest Airlines, the official airline of the Chicago Cubs.
WGN, 50 years as Chicago's very own.
We now join our program, already in progress.